here. Hello, welcome to the stream after my absence last week. Unavoidable, I'm afraid. But we're back, and we're here with a continuation of Robot Month. Yeah, so because I picked Rockman 02 for Game Club this month, I'm playing other games where you're a robot, but also games that fit my theme of heroines, female protagonists. I'm trying to load up my stream chat over here. Hang on a sec. Oh yeah, I need to refresh that page and then... Well, hopefully that comes up at some point. So yeah, welcome Gibbon. Good to see you. So here we are with Hard and Heavy. Oh god, I've done it again. I always forget to mute that. Okay. That was an ad playing on my own Twitch preview. Yes, so this is Hard and Heavy. It's a sequel to the Great Giana Sisters by Rainbow Art Software. Giana was 1987. I played that at the very start of the year on this stream series, and I'm now coming back with the sequel. The sequel was 2 years later in 1989. It was originally going to be a direct sequel, but there were problems. I'll explain more about that as we go on, but I just want to hang on the title screen here for a minute because, well, the Amiga view, I'm playing on the Amiga version, which came as a port of the original Commodore 64 version because it's got better graphics. It's also in widescreen, and because it's widescreen, I can't display the box art on the sides of the screen like I have been doing lately. But the box art is basically just the same artist this title screen. As you can see there, the art is credited to Chalal Kandi Meriglu. Sorry about that, butchering that name. He's a Turkish-born German guy who did a lot of work for Rainbow Arts and other German companies doing in-game art works like this and also cover artworks. So the interesting thing about this artwork is that originally, when the game was going to be Giana 2, they had an artwork mocked up for it, which looked exactly like this, except for the central figure was a woman in a red skirt and a red top, doing the same pose, and all they did was change the woman into a robot. Yes, so I guess we'll get started. Yeah, and I'll continue. Yeah, so like the protagonists of this game, there's two of them and they're robots. The game's called Hard and Heavy, but yeah, it's got a demo mode, which is actually considered an innovation at the time, I think. The other thing it had over other C64 games at the time was visible checkpoints, at least according to one commenter I read. You had games like Super Mario Brothers and the original Giana that had checkpoints, but they just sort of happened and you didn't know when they would, but in this game they're visible. Oh, that's right, I have to confirm that screen to continue. So, here we are. Our character is Heavy. The game's called Hard and Heavy, but the actual robot protagonists of the game are not named Hard and Heavy, they're named Heavy and Metal. So you can play as both. I couldn't actually figure out how to be the alternate robot protagonist, so we're just going to be Heavy, I guess. Oh no, that's right. I did try it once where you could select a two-player mode and then it's alternating, kind of like the old Mario games as well. No hidden bonus. Okay, pretty simple level to start off with. So yeah, I'm playing as Heavy. Metal is the two-player version. Apparently, the only difference between them is that they have different colored heads, although they appear to be identical in the Amiga version. Oh, I've already blown up. That's not good. Okay. So yeah, this was originally going to be a Giana sequel, like I said. Okay, 2 Shots to Kill the Grinning Ball, which looks like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy mascot character. Sort of, but without a tongue. So yeah, you might have heard the story of the Great Giana Sisters. Armin Gessert and his collaborator Manfred Trenz was the graphic artist for the game. Oh, it managed to escape. yeah, they made this game that was pretty much a clone of Super Mario Brothers. Quite obvious as well in the fact of, you know, the name of it. Oh yeah, the cracker of this version has added their own custom text to the high score menu screen. Yeah, okay. So where are we? Back to stage 1, okay. So that's a bit tricky, no continues or anything. If we're gonna get through this, I'm gonna have to start using save states. So that's just, you know, the normal disclaimer. It's what you expect from this stream at this point. I really don't know what those enemies are supposed to be. In Giana they were owls. These guys are like little robot frogs or something. Gibbon's calling out the helmet design. It is a bit xenomorph, isn't it? Wouldn't you say? Oops. Didn't do a full jump, it did a short jump. And hopping on enemies actually ends up with you dying. So yeah, there's more of a focus on using your weapon, which is this sort of Super Bowl thing. Sort of like, well, again, with the Mario comparison, in Mario Land, instead of fireballs, Mario had the Super Bowl power-up. I wonder if there's a power-up up here. Nope. Just a gem, which changed shape in this version. Yeah, but it's a similar setup. They didn't change much coming to this sequel. There's breakable blocks and power-up blocks. There's, you know, the normal pickups to collect. Oh, that power-up at the top counted as a hidden bonus. So you're going to see this UI when I use the save state function. That's part of the emulator I'm using, which is called FS-UAE. I'm not sure what that stands for, but it's a quite good emulator. It adds in funny features like, I mean, I've probably talked about it before when I've played Amiga games, but interacting, I can't interact with blocks except by throwing the balls at them. Okay, yeah, features like it uses it sort of simulates a disk access noise whenever the game loads. So it's as if you're playing a real Amiga because you can hear the floppy drive whirring and clicking. And that's all artificially created. It's like when electric cars put in an engine noise for car heads to, I don't know, feel better about it. Ooh, oh wow. I got a flamethrower. That's different. Oops. Oh, those things are nasty. Yes, so what sentence did I not finish saying? Oh, game over already, gosh. And I lost a life on the first stage. This is tough. Alright. This time, we'll do it perfectly. Given saying his copy of the Predator novelization just arrived. So they're really getting those things out day and date with the movie these days, aren't they? That's cool. This latest movie was The Predator, wasn't it? It wasn't Predators. Oh, I died. Damn. Let's get the game over. There's got to be a way to earn extra lives, surely. Point cutoffs, maybe? Or a pickup? Oh, Predators was 2010. Yeah, I don't keep up with the Predators franchise. I have watched the last 2 Alien movies. Although, you know, quote-unquote watched. I watched probably 90% of them, and the rest of the time my eyes were behind my hands. What am I doing? Dying one more time. Okay. So, yes, this is Giana 2 that got changed. What was I saying? Let's just start again. Let's start from the beginning. This game is called Hard and Heavy. It was created by Rainbow Arts Software, which is a German company formed by Armin Gessert. I'm going to save here, actually, in case I lose a life and don't have to die again. Yep, it happened. So yeah, Armin Gessert, he's a cool guy. He was involved with Giana Sisters on DS as well, which is a really cool game that I like a lot. It's sort of a remake, reboot of the first game from the Commodore. But I went looking up about who was involved in the creation of Twisted Dreams, which is the new Giana reboot thing. It sort of builds on DS, but it's got a slightly different look and mechanics and stuff. And yeah, I couldn't actually see that Armin Gesser was involved with Twisted Dreams, which made me kind of sad, but I guess he's moved on. There is there's actually quite a bit of developer follow-on overlap between Giana Sisters DS and Twisted Dreams, just not the original creator, unfortunately. So it's not like, oh, someone just bought the name or something. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's a few games of the Giana series. I mentioned the original one and then the DS one and Twisted Dreams. There was also one after that that's sort of a multiplayer focused, more like a runner game than a platform adventure game. I don't know much about that one. It came out on Steam relatively recently, and I think they're working on a sequel to it now. Yeah, Fire Breath. Right, Rise of the Alvalord, as Gibbon says. That was an expansion for Twisted Dreams. Okay, so the flamethrower actually can't bounce and break all these blocks, so it almost seems like it's a drawback for getting all those collectibles, but might be better at defeating enemies. And yeah, so Dream Runners came after Rise of the Alvalord. Oh, it's actually a standalone release, says Gibbon. I wonder if the flamethrower protects me from a hit. I can't break blocks with it. That's really annoying me, actually. Can I switch weapons or something? That's a pause. Oh, okay. How did I do that? I threw a ball there. I'm not sure how I did it, though. Okay, holding up and pressing the button. But any time that... Oh, can I switch back? Okay, so if I press down... No, I don't understand how it works. It's up and down and shoot and a combination of that or something. Maybe it's just tapping up and down when I'm not. But up is a jump. Okay, hitting down did change it. Ooh, what's this? A new thing. A new bomb. I don't know how to use those. Good time to save, I think. Yes, so Gibbon says Rise of the Alvalord is actually a standalone release. I did not realize this. Good to know. Oh. I really have to be as careful as I can because I want to get through the game. Oh, a 1-up. Lovely. Wait, was that a 1-up? I had 3 lives and I still have 3 lives. Oh well, moving on. Yeah, so... Oh gosh, yeah. So, okay, so... Yeah, Giana's been rebooted and stuff. We talked about this. That just gave me some points, okay. But, of course, the original release... I probably talked about it when I played it back on stream, and you might know the story anyway, but because it was so obviously derivative of Super Mario Brothers, that actually caused Nintendo to sit up and take notice, even though it wasn't exactly a high-profile release. I'm pretty sure it didn't leave Europe, but it did at least make it to the UK as well as its native Germany. So Nintendo sued Rainbow Arts, and it caused the original game, the Great Giana Sisters, to be completely removed from store shelves. Wow, okay, that was lucky. I should pause before saving because I kept running. It was only my invincibility frames from the start of the level that saved me from that enemy. Right, so Giana Sisters was pulled from release. You couldn't buy it anymore. It survived through like piracy, I guess, and fans made conversions of it to other platforms, and then of course it came back in on the DS in I think 2000 and nope, I don't know, in the 2000s. But there was going to be a second Giana game at the time. There were even screenshots in magazines, and that's this game, of course, the one I'm playing, but there were screenshots in magazines of this game, at least the C64 version, running with a main character that was very similar to the sprite from the original game of Giana, or Maria. Is it Giana or Maria? I think it was both, wasn't it? And then in the remake, like, Maria is a damsel and Giana is... oh, Gibbon's asking if sprite mods exist. Yes, definitely. In my research, I found one. I didn't actually take note of where it was, but I definitely found a project to restore the sprites as they appeared to be for the Giana 2 release. So that exists. Man, these things are dangerous. Okay, gotta be careful. Our little buzzy beetles here, spinies, I guess. Ah, nuts. So there's so much about this UI that I don't understand. I've got bombs, I've got these two little sort of power cells, I have a wheel in the middle, a pie chart. I don't know what that's for. And I have my shoot on the left, which is probably my shot type. And if I try and change it like so... No, that didn't change. Nothing changed. Actually, this flame would be a lot more useful in these narrow corridors. Okay, Gibbon found it pretty quickly on earrock.net, earok.net. There's a thread or a... Yeah, I found a forum thread about it, but that might be like, I don't know, some database or something. And yes, the title screen is a conversion. It should be a conversion. I can't look at it right now, but it should be a conversion from that original artwork, like I said. It's just the same as this one, but instead of a robot, it's a woman. Okay, now that we've got... Yep, switching weapons. I've got a handle on that now. So let's use it to... Nah, it gets stopped by that wall. So we're back to the flamethrower. Pounce. Good. What? As if. Excuse you. How very dare you? Yeah, okay. So... It's probably because of the lawsuit. I don't know if they ever specifically said so. But the game was changed from being a Giana game to being a new IP, I guess you could say, of this hard and heavy with the robot characters. Which is, I mean, the sprite is the same, has the same proportions and stuff. They've just changed the head and the costume a bit. Oh great, now there's 3 of the little buggers. Okay. I'm gonna save here, because I'm save scumming, why not? Why not? I have no shame. Why should I? I'm gonna stand on midair, because that's what I do. Damn. Excellent. And I'll skip that one. Good. Ah! Typical. Okay. So I believe the official word was we're delaying the game for like quality control and stuff. But then by the time it was released, they changed the whole theme of it. So originally, the game was going to be called Giana 2, Arthur and Martha in Future World. So it had the same theme and everything with robots and futuristic setting, but it was going to be just the Giana Sisters transplanted into that setting. Okay, now we got a giant spiny, and you can much clearer make out the design of the sprite. Oh, brutal. All right, I think the answer is approaching from the front, because the back is probably not vulnerable. And there's nasty gaps here. Oh, very nasty. So yeah, Arthur and Martha in Future World. Unclear who Arthur and Martha were, whether they were supposed to be the new player characters, possibly. Oh, No way. Alright, there's got to be a way. I'm going to try a bomb this time. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to make that work. It's probably a keyboard function. Because not everything is mapped to the joystick, I've found. Sometimes. Just grab these, then I'll save. And now, so, B for bomb. Nope. M for, I don't know, mega bomb. I'm just gonna hit all buttons. I'm getting a slight lag each time I do, so I feel like the emulator is processing the input or something. Nope, nothing worked. Enter. Space. Oh, space pauses the game. Good to know. Of course, I have my emulator-based pause button as well, but with the in-game pause button, the music continues running. So, number keys, nope, nothing works. So, press down, down again. I don't know, man. Maybe, I don't know. I wonder sometimes whether the crack has caused issues with the gameplay. I have had that happen. Yeah, that's no good. Must use flame power. Oh, they come out so quick. Ooh. Dude. Going down in one hit is such a pain. In the original Giana, like, you had the power up and then you could survive a hit, right? I'm not misremembering that, am I? If it was a direct clone of Mario. The bouncy ball aren't as useful as you'd think. What if I lure it further over this way? It just tries to keep pace with you though. Well, there we go, that was a few hits. Oh no, out of time! This is the same problem I had. This is the same problem I had in the original Giana Sisters. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna run past it. Damn, maybe it's invincible. But yeah, remember how I got stuck on the boss in Giana Sisters because I was up to it, I made a save state, and then I took so long trying to beat it that just ran out of time. That was really frustrating. Okay, I can just run past bosses. No need to worry about it. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with the boss at the end of the level, this is very similar sort of level design and structure to what Giana was. Okay, so we've got a new enemy there, the blobs, not very threatening. That's got to be a hidden bonus. Oh no, no scrolling backwards? Oh, really? Ooh! Falling down a pit actually led me to a bonus room. Love it. Cool. Oh yeah, and hit the things. Hit the things. Okay, get me out of here. Good. Ooh, disk access. Okay. Oh, back at the start. Alright, good time to save. Alright, okay. Yes. Oh, so, I was talking about Arthur and Martha. Where to start? Let's start with a digression about what is the origin of the phrase Arthur and Martha. Gibbon's speculating about a possible sequel to Twisted Dreams. Oops. Whether it might use a future world setting as well. Could be cool. There was a little bit of that maybe in Bubsy the Woolly Strike Back, if you if you admit it. There were, like, you know, because the enemies are sort of aliens, there were spaceships and force fields around the place. So it was a little bit like that. It wasn't a completely mechanized world though, because it was, you know, an alien invasion of our world kind of setting. This time I'm gonna get that. Oh, I can't. My super balls don't bounce. Maybe if I bounce them in the right trajectory. See, starting there. Yeah. Okay. Keep doing that. Oh, it's just some gems, isn't it? This is just wasting my time. Oh no, there is a P. Give me the P. What did that do? Who knows? Oh, great. Cool. I love the super balls. It's great when, you know, you're given weapons with some kind of unique trajectory kind of thing. Like when you're playing a Mega Man game, and I know that I said a couple of weeks ago that I haven't played many classic games at all, and that remains true, but oops. Yeah, but like anytime you're given a weapon that isn't just firing straight ahead out of you like the normal Buster, it opens up new possibilities and stuff. Anyway, yeah, so digression about Arthur and Martha. It seems to be derived from a colloquialism that is supposedly Australian in origin, although I don't think I've ever heard it actually said, but I mean, I guess it depends on your generation, what media you're exposed to, but anyway, there's this expression where you can say it about yourself or about someone else, to say, I didn't know if I was Arthur or Martha, to mean that you were very confused about something, and you were so confused that you'd sort of forgotten who you are and what kind of identity you have. So it's kind of just a funny, like, rhyming, like, slang thing, except it also kind of has, like, really problematic undertones of, like, transphobia or even biphobia, because one speculated origin I saw was that someone didn't know if their partner was Arthur or Martha, or they didn't care, rather. Like a bisexual person doesn't care if they're with Arthur or Martha. So it seems like a derogatory way of referring to, like, yeah, people with gender dysphoria or such kind of issues, which is not a very nice origin for this phrase. So that's why I don't really want to use it, but it's a weird example of sort of a phrase from Australian English being transplanted into German through this game. Although in that case, I mean, it's just the name of some characters. It's just a funny rhyming name, really, for the game itself. But anyway, I found that pretty fascinating to read about. Okay, give me the thing. I don't know if extra P's really add to my capabilities, or if they're just a way to replace the lost flamethrower if you die. Like, I'm gonna guess it's the latter. And these things seem to just be invincible. Anyway, yeah, Arthur and Martha. One of the sources I saw, which was the C64 wiki. Very good resource for information about this game, actually. But they spelled Arthur with an E, which, because people then used that as a source, that misspelling has propagated to other places. But I believe the intention was to just spell Arthur properly, and that's backed up by other sources. Yeah, so what am I doing? I want to change to Super Bowl. I forgot what button to use to do that. Oops. Okay, so outside of whatever possible origin the phrase has, what does the subtitle Arthur and Martha mean for this game, considering it's, you know, for a concept for a game that was never officially released? Well, Arthur and Martha suggest that the two protagonists, because like Giana had Giana and Maria, it suggests that the playable characters in the sequel would have been a boy and a girl, as opposed to the two girls from the original. Now, the only screenshot we've seen is of a sprite that's very much like Giana's from the original game. So we don't know what Arthur would have looked like, but considering his name is first, that kind of suggests that he would have been the primary playable character. Not necessarily, we don't really know. But what I'm getting at is we don't know much about the protagonists of this game. You know, hard and heavy as it was released, those spikes. If you don't get out of the way in time, you're totally spiked by this flaw. And you get blobs walking through floors. I've seen that a few times so far throughout the game, but yeah. No, I was lucky. Oh, what's this? That's new. Do I have a new weapon? It appears not. Who knows what that did? I'll stick with the Super Ball because I like it. Yeah, so we don't know much about hard and heavy. No, they're not called hard and heavy. They're called heavy and metal for, you know, some reason. Oh, no, actually, I had some more notes about Arthur and Martha, by the way. There was a variation on the phrase, which expands it to, I don't know if I'm Arthur or Martha or General MacArthur, which sort of adds more absurdity to it and makes it a bit less problematic. But I also noted that the specific pronunciation of certain words in different accents and dialects means that the fact that it's a rhyming sort of pun thing really only works in Australian English, because Americans and maybe even British people would pronounce the R a lot more in Arthur. Arthur and Martha are totally different words if you're speaking, you know, American English. So Arthur and Martha, you can hear as I say them, they sound exactly the same. That's because Australian dialect, or not dialect, you know, just the accent, kind of broadens out a lot of vowel sounds, and it's actually a really interesting topic. I know someone who's a linguist who knows all about why these sort of things happen in terms of the brain and the mouth. But yeah, it's kind of accents are a weird social construct. But it's same spot, same enemy. Okay, we'll try it again. It's fine, we'll get through this. I heard there were 15 levels in this game. Don't quote me on that. We'll see, we'll get through it. But yeah, Australians also don't pronounce the R's very much. I knew that would kill me, I knew it. I'm gonna have to break some of those blocks before I get down to that platform. Or maybe try and backtrack. Yeah, so we don't pronounce R's. All our vowels are kind of really, they kind of blur together. Come on, why can't I get in there? Oh well, power-ups aren't doing me any good anyway. I have managed to get a few extra lives, which I assume is from point cutoffs because I haven't noticed otherwise. Point milestones, I should say. At least 22 levels, says Given. Thank you. I was looking at the back of the box earlier for reasons I will get into. Come on, you smiling git. Good. We made it. Next level, please. Yes. All right. So that was it. That was the whole word thing, language thing. But yeah. Okay. So what does that tell us about our protagonists here, Heavy and Metal? Well, they have the same sprite, just with the head swapped, at least from what I read of the C64 version. I couldn't find footage of the two-player mode, and I didn't want to load up my C64 emulator just for that, because I knew I'd be playing on Amiga today, where the sprites appear to be identical. So they look the same. Now, what do we know about how the characters look? Well, we have the title screen, where one of, presumably, our protagonists is a robot that's all in red and with a crash helmet on, but with distinct feminine characteristics like boobs on her chest. So, you know, I've got a whole discussion lined up about gynoids, but I guess I'll save that for a bit later. So if the protagonist's sprites are identical, and at least one of them looks like the female robot or the feminine robot, I should say, on the title screen, then perhaps Heavy and Metal are both gynoids, lady robots. Or I should say robots with feminine characteristics. There's this whole concept of robots having gender that's weird. Gender is like a human construct, and like we're gonna obviously put that onto artificial life forms that we create. It's inevitable. But I remember like reading about Star Wars and how robots do have gendered pronouns, and that is a function of their programming, whether their personality is, and presumably their voice synthesis is male or female in nature. Alright, we'll lure this guy over here and then just slip in behind. Lovely. Anyway, if they both look like that, they're both lady robots, is my conclusion from the logic of that, not taking into account the fact that the protagonists were maybe going to be Arthur and Martha instead. Save. Okay. Let's take the upper route because that's the way to go in platform games. It's harder to get to the upper route and harder to stay there, so presumably it's going to be rewarding or something. They seem to drone out pretty quickly in this case though. And watch out for the spike floor. Oh, nuts. Okay, so why don't I tell you something about the story of this game as presented in the final product. So the back of the box has a blurb, and there's more blurb. There's an extended story blurb on C64 Wiki that I mentioned. I don't know what their source was. Possibly the manual, I'm not sure. I didn't actually mention this, but this game was only released in Germany as far as I could tell. So the text appears to be all in English, but that's also the case for a lot of Japanese games. So it's possible it was released in the UK, but from what I read as well, because of it being changed and the Nintendo lawsuit and stuff, and the fact that it was being handled by basically just a small German publisher, I don't think it got a UK release, but I don't know, it might have. Oh, S, that's new. My thingy changed. Okay, I can shoot 2 balls at once. That's lovely. I like that a lot. Good, good, good. Why don't we save? Cool. Yeah, so I don't know where C64 Wiki got their information, but there's more information on there. Oh, Gibbon's got some little info here about gynoids. He's saying Battle Angel Alita, which is a series of manga and stuff, has a series of robot clones of Alita, who is herself a robot clone at that point, so it's all hand-wavy. And one of the clones suffers from dysphoria and eventually gets retooled into a more male body. Was pretty interesting. Yeah, that's really fascinating. Especially when you start thinking about this kind of artificial life and what does it mean for them to have these kind of identity issues, and the fact that they can change them, potentially. I mean, oh, sorry. Well, we can change our bodies too. Yeah, that sounded bad. Sorry. Oops. Anyway, yeah, it is interesting as well to think about the future and how things in that kind of area are going to change. I probably got an extra life at 100 gems. That's probably it. Yeah, that would make sense. I wonder if Battle Angel Alita got any video game adaptations, because later in the stream when I get to it, I have a list of robot games that I considered playing today and next week. Sorry. My water went down the wrong way. Oh, new enemy. Creepy. And they jump. Let's get ahead of them. Oh, they're fast. Nasty. Alright. Get on top of it. Great. Yes. Okay, stuff. So... So yeah, I'm always thinking about, eventually I'm going to draw these characters in pixel art that I'm playing as, so what kind of design am I going to use when I come to draw Heavy here? And it'll probably be, because I think an all red robot wouldn't look very good in tiny pixels, or like few pixels I should say. So I'll probably use something inspired by this design, but mostly red. Because there's a bit of variation here. You see flesh-colored hands, and these big eye holes in the mask, and there's a belt, and the shoes are different colors, so there'll be some variation. Okay. Oh, you are chasing me. By the way, I like the music here. This music is by the same guy who did Giana, and is actually one of the people who has that continuity. He worked on the original Giana Sisters on C64, and he came back all the way to Twisted Dreams as well, and is doing music on that with Black Forest Games. And that's Chris Hulsbeck, who, yeah, he's got a lot of other credits to his name as well, but yeah, he did this game and Giana, so good work, Chris. And I think it's nice kind of sci-fi music for the setting too, kind of this like kind of gentle techno kind of thing. I like it. Given saying they look like viruses, actually you're not wrong. The depiction of viruses as you see them with the protein strands jutting out at angles like that, yeah, I definitely see what you mean. But they're bigger than viruses, they're robots. There's that whole thing where, what's it called, biomimesis, where artificial designs have been chosen to mimic natural formations because they've had millions of years of evolution to become efficient at what they do. So a good way to design an airplane wing is to make it like a bird's wing, for example. So yeah, I don't know what advantage it would be to scaling up a virus to macro size and then making a robot that looks like that, but yeah, anyway. Yes, okay, so heavy and metal. Oh yeah, the story. So here's the story of the game. Actually, what I'm going to do is read you what is written on C64 Wiki, because no matter where they got it from, it's really amusing. Actually, instead of doing that, I'll read the back of the box first, which I have here in another tab on my phone. Yes, so the first thing to note is that it talks about the odd robot couple, so like robot odd couple, but robot, odd robot couple. Yeah, the back of the box is in German and English, so maybe they intended it for export. Oh, it says right here, Germany and United Kingdom. Okay, so it was released in the UK, but in the same edition, possibly, same box, just save on costs or whatever. Oh, they're so quick. So I guess that explains the English language. It makes it more accessible. A lot of people in Europe have English as a second language, so you might be able to import it in other markets and still understand it. Anyway, yeah, so what it says is that Heavy and Metal are an odd robot couple. Now, I wanted to know about that because, you know, in the traditional hetero status quo, that would imply that the robots are a male and female, which isn't necessarily the case, but that might have been the intention. So I went back to the German and tried to figure out what that word was. Now, the first phrase in German is der Robotpärchen, and I did look up the pronunciation of that. It's P, A with umlaut, R-C-H-E-N. And I got a little voice thingy. Somebody recorded it on the internet to tell me how to say it properly. Pärchen. Pärchen. It might be slightly different in Austrian dialect, but... Oh, these are affecting my jump physics. Oh, okay. Yeah, so Pärchen is a word that is a sort of diminutive form of the word Pierre, which means pair, or it means pair, but when it's put in the form of Pärchen, it usually means couple, at least as far as I could tell from dictionaries and such. So, for whatever reason, these two robots have decided that they're a couple, so that's nice. And I am going to stick with my idea that they're two gynoids. So here we go. Here's your Pride Month. We've got a lesbian robot couple, so that's nice. Some representation for the robot community. Yeah. So that was my conclusion based on that. So yeah, what are these robots doing exactly? Well, let's continue reading the box. The odd robot couple, Heavy and Metal, both have a slight glitch in their operating systems. Instead of working in the lithium mines on Mars, they are running through underground caverns searching for adventure, thrills, and a new high score. Hard and Heavy offers fun for all types of gameplayers with action, etc., etc. Skill and strategy in 25 different levels. Okay, there's your answer. And extremely clever players can try to find the 5 hidden levels. Well, I don't know if I'll be doing that, but we've got at least 11 more levels to go. So we're pretty good pace for that, I think. We're not going to be too long or too short, I think. That's good. Oh, those blobs can jump, and they can jump out of their in-ground hideout. Okay. So yeah, we got Heavy and Metal here. Why don't I switch back over to the C64 one, which has a bit more of an expansion on it, and it's pretty amusing, although I don't know their source exactly. Okay. In 1997 goes the story. The year-long advertisement muzak of Japanese and Swiss watch companies, okay, I'll get over that blob, has reached its aim. Every human that thinks something of himself now owns 20 to 30 quartz clocks. Promptly, the great crisis is ahead. Save there. So what is this crisis? Every clock needs a new lithium battery once a year. The supply of lithium of Earth is exhausted in only a few months. I gotta say, this game is a little more gentle than Giana Sisters was, perhaps. Especially with its physics, I think. That was kind of a weakness of Giana. It was a bit sticky. I love having 2 Super Bowls at once. That's very helpful. Anyway. So yeah, we're all out of lithium. Now, remember that in the Watchmen comic, Dr. Manhattan was able to solve this problem for us and supply us with a much larger quantity of lithium batteries so that we could phase out fossil fuels, because he could simply synthesize lithium from nothing, because he could do that. That was one of his abilities. So he made the world a better place by doing that. But no, we're going to run out of lithium. So what's our solution? Fortunately, the astronomics, okay, discover a great occurrence of lithium on Mars. Quickly, spaceships are built. Let's switch to flame. A Mars base is erected and the first mines are digged. Who wrote this? I'm beginning to think this is not quite official. Digged. There's got to be a way to deal with the smoke. Ah, great. Okay, good. Yeah, there is a little effect there. If I do damage. Not always. Come on, this is taking up all my time. Okay. Oh no! Yes, okay, so what happened next? In the meantime, scientists develop the ideal mine worker on Earth. A small robot which can decide on its own and thus search for further lithium in the mines. Two of this robots, named jestingly Heavy and Metal, are sent to Mars. I gotta think that whoever was naming the game and whoever was naming the characters maybe didn't communicate so well. It's just so weird that the game is called Hard and Heavy in this style that you would think that it's the name of a duo, and yet the robots are not called that. They're called Heavy and Metal. I don't know. It's very strange. It still confuses me. I'm so confused that I don't know if I am Bert or Kurt. Okay, maybe Super Balls can damage these. Oh, I heard a thing, a sound effect. Come on. Damn. Yeah, that's completely deadly. I was thinking there might be a frame of some frames of its animation where it isn't doing damage, but that doesn't appear to be the case. Is this hurting it? I don't hear any damage sound effects. This is very frustrating. Wish I knew how to use my bombs. Okay. Only certain frames of its animation have hurt boxes, but they all have hitboxes. This is my current theory. Oh, I bounced it off the roof. I can get a better angle. Okay. Sorry, ceiling. Anyway, continuing the story. Stupidly, the OS5 operating system of the two plate miners contains a small mistake. Ah, Scorpion! Frick! That was surprising. Okay. This is going to be another race to the finish, I think. Yeah, OS5. Don't know what kind of OS this is. Dating the game. They're not necessarily running a version of an OS that we know about. By the way, I do note that the first line of this version of the story says that this is taking place in 1997, which at the time, this game was released in 1989. That was 8 years off. So they thought that, well, they didn't exactly think. I mean, it's just a silly story. I don't think it was as an actual prediction of the future, but yeah, 8 years out, we'd have independent mining robots and the ability to go to Mars easily and bring back ore, not to mention, like, transporting things through space, like, is incredibly resource intensive and expensive. We're a long way away from mining being viable. If the intention is to bring the materials back to Earth to supplement our resources here, like, yeah, no. Anyway, this is tough. I think I got to jump over the Scorpion. It doesn't track me as much as the... Oh, it does! Bloody hell. Okay. So yeah, the OS5 robots, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it contains a small mistake. When seeing the complex tunnel systems in the lithium mines, they forget their mission and walk on their own through the cave systems in the search of adventures, thrill, and a new high score. So it's kind of an expansion on what was on the back of the box, with a silly detail about, watches being, or clocks. Wait, if they're watches, why are they taking lithium batteries? I guess digital watches do take batteries, but you don't have to replace them every year. There's some holes in this story, I think. Given saying the leading operating system at the time was OS2. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So it was this is just a few versions on. And the same thing that's running your microcomputers is going to be running robots in the future. 8 years from now. Not 8 years. Yeah, 8 years. Yeah. Okay. How am I going to do this? I know. Nope, that didn't work. I did manage to get on the other side of it at one point earlier. Maybe I'll hang back a bit, let it rush me, and then come back this way. Oh, the fireball. I forgot the fireball. Just spawn it and then try and get out of the way. that blob is a problem. And I still don't know how to use my bombs. Let's deal with the blob first. Bounce off this ceiling. Perfect. Okay, jump over the fireball. Ah! The second fireball, of course. Okay. Oh! Wow. This thing's ruthless. I'm gonna try and defeat this scorpion. I'm not gonna run past it like a coward. No, that's cool. You will notice that on the title screen, I mean, we were on it ages ago, but you'll remember that there were various little robotic bad guys present, and among them was a scorpion. Of course, it wasn't an orange scorpion on the title screen, it was completely metallic. But there was at least some communication there, like this is what's going to be our boss character, so put it on the artwork. I believe that's the case with the Giana Sisters artwork as well. You can see owls and dragons in the background. Given saying current Apple Watches run watchOS 5. That's interesting. Yes, but we're a long way from 1997. And we have been to Mars, but we haven't brought back any lithium. Actually, I did look that up because I was interested. Does Mars actually have appreciable amounts of lithium? I found a research paper from the 70s that had somehow determined some of the elements that might be on Mars. And I think they speculated that there might be some. I don't remember all the details, but I also read somewhere else that Mars has a lot of like copper and iron. I think iron is what gives it its red color because there's a lot of iron oxides in the sand of its crust, or its, you know, top layer or whatever, the regolith. That was an interesting level. They are putting different concepts in, like that one was all spike floors and blobs. Yeah, so I did see that also in addition to the common elements, lithium was there in trace amounts, but there was speculation that there might be more in useful amounts that could be mined underground. So we don't really know at this stage, but it's possible. And if lithium is the the main resource that we need, above all others, then it's plausible that we could go to Mars to get it. I tried to look up if maybe the moon had some, and that might be an easier solution, but I don't think it does. Dang. A lot of the articles I found when I was searching for that were about lithium batteries being used to power spacecraft, or not, and you know, like, what do you call them? Rovers? Yeah, rovers, like the robots or the vehicles that were on Mars, with their cameras and such. Anyway, yeah, so that's the story. We're on Mars. We're supposed to be mining robots looking for lithium, but we're too eccentric and we got distracted and started looking for adventure in the caverns. So that implies that, well, actually, we don't know if the place we're in is a mine that's been dug and then sort of had human-originated cybernetic stuff as well, and we're just like later stage robots, or if all this structure was naturally on Mars and these are sort of aliens and extraterrestrial robots. It's possible. I don't know. I'm going to say that, I mean, there's all this organic stuff as well. Unless we were able to create artificial life forms to assist in the mines within those, what was it, 8 years? Yeah, I'm going to say we found aliens on Mars, guys. Congratulations. Gibbon's asking if we know what the plot of the original Giana 2 in Future World was going to be, and I'm going to say no, apart from the subtitle. I might have to double check because, as I said, it was in some magazine articles and such. There was artwork, or rather like a screenshot. But no, that part of it usually comes late in the process when they're making the boxes and stuff. At least public viewing of it, I would say. No, that's not necessarily true. There might have been some idea. But yeah, I'm gonna assume that basically all the like enemy characters in the game haven't been changed. It was just the two main characters. That's what I'm gonna assume, because we saw the artwork which had the woman on it, and everything else was the same except for the woman in the middle who got changed to a robot for the final version. So yeah, I'm gonna say that the player characters were the only sprites that were changed in the conversion process. But yeah, as for the plot of what it was going to be, well, let's think about it. The original game had Giana... No, Twisted Dreams has her in a dream world. Is she in a dream world in the original game? I don't recall. Because it could just be a different kind of dream, maybe? I don't know. Oh, brutal. I hate to interrupt the music because I am genuinely enjoying it. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that they retrofitted a new plot to fit the graphics they'd already made. I don't think Giana was gonna go mining for lithium on Mars. Yes, given confirming she is in a dream world in the original. Okay, well, there don't seem to be any common elements between the two. I mean, the structure is very similar, but there's no like overt plot connections that remain. Like, there's no owls here, for example, or dragons. Yes. Oh yeah, that's the third shot. Yes, I want that. It'd be unstoppable. I really wish I could figure out what all this other junk on the screen was, the bombs and everything. Oh well. Give me my 3 blobs, 3 super balls. Which we call bouncy balls, by the way. That mod you found might actually have some information, or might have done the research about... Oh! I found a secret gap. Interesting. Oh, scorpion time. Let's save. Okay. We're gonna try and bounce some balls down. Ah, there's a gap there. Oops. Let's get into this gap. Oh, just clear the whole thing. Sure. Finish the level, that's fine. Alright. Yep, so I mentioned Armin Gesser before. He's the one who coded the original Giana Sisters, also coded this one. I think he also did the concept, possibly, but don't quote me on that. Like I said, Manfred Trenz was in charge of in-game graphics for Giana Sisters, but for this game it was someone else. It was Andreas Escher, which, oh, I was going to check what else Andreas is known for, but oh well, I didn't. Yeah, and as I said before, Chris Hulsbeck came back to do music on this one again. Now, possibly because of the legal troubles... Oh, really? I didn't save? Fool me once. Shame on this game. No, don't blame the game. Yeah, so, yeah. Let's see. So the game... They might... Like, Nintendo was suing Rainbow Arts, who is the developer. They also publish games. It seems like they might have downplayed the fact that Rainbow Arts made this game. Maybe for those reasons. I don't know. It's all speculation, but either way, distribution and publishing seems to have been handled by Reline in this case, which is also a German company and is linked to Rainbow Arts. They're not the same thing, but they... they have some history and collaboration and such. Eek. Do 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 do. Yep. I mentioned that some people from DS returned for Twisted Dreams. There's actually 8 people in total, and there's quite a lot who worked on Twisted Dreams, but only 8 in common. What else did I write? I mentioned Pierchen. Oh yeah, the other thing when I was searching for this game is you get a lot of results for heavy metal album from the Canadian band Anvil, who was also known at the time as Lips, or like the album was originally released under the name Lips, and then they re-released it as Anvil. So I don't know anything about that, but it gets in the way of searches when you look for the name of the game. Oh wow, a snake, another new enemy. Looks a little out of place with all the robots and aliens. Okay, I don't know what that is, but I missed it and I don't care. Whoa! Those viruses came back. They jumped off the top of the screen and they eventually made their way back. Interesting. Yeah, you can leave, Snake. Oh, nuts. Yes, okay. So, I think that was all of my notes for Hard and Heavy, but I had a lot of other sort of stuff related to robot things. First, a little bit of follow-up. I talked last week about, since I was doing, it wasn't last week, it was 2 weeks ago, but last time I streamed I was doing Mega Man fan games, and talking about all the times that like Roll has actually been playable, stuff like that. I didn't really talk about other playable heroines of the series, because there are a few. They're not often the main character though. Both ZX games actually have... Oh, I just cleared that. I think there are some frames where it's got less of a hitbox possibly. I might have been wrong before. Hasty. Ah, nuts. I've got 9 lives. Why don't we not use any save states for like the final few levels? I think we're at 20, yeah, 21. Anyway, in ZX, which is the sort of sequel series to Zero. Ah, okay. Why don't I deal with that one? The first ZX game has Vent and Ale. They're supposed to be like equally important and interchangeable, but I think Vent is probably featured more prominently on artwork because he's the boy, and you know, games are for boys. By the way, those little flying things, completely new. Never seen them before. Given's actually saying he thinks that some of the music tracks are the same as from Giana Sisters. I haven't noticed, but it's possible. And yes, you're right. They have slightly different stories. And they also have slightly different weapons. There's some subtlety with their charge shot and its effects. The differences are more pronounced in the sequel ZX Advent. Vent and Ale even have the same like costume. They just have slightly different hair and body shape. But they have the same story no matter what you pick. They're both like orphans who are raised by, or taken in by Jiro, who work for his transport company or whatever. But they're both human as well, so they're not even robots for Robot Month, but they still count. They're protagonists of a Rockman game, a Mega Man game. They become sort of cyborgs by merging with this mechanical thing. It's not really important, but this is at the stage of the series where robots and humans are becoming closer together in terms of their sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it was like, it's actually for a nefarious plot reason, but in effect it also dramatically improves the relations between them when they're closer in capabilities and like you know, stuff. Because differences breed, you know, resentment, conflict, and there's been conflict between humans and robots through all of history in the Mega Man franchise, but when they're less distinguishable, there's more peace, which is actually a big theme of Legends. Yeah, human for a given value of human, says Given, because they're quite highly modified, and I think it's the modifications that let them use the biometals in the first place. But anyway, yeah, so when you get to ZX Advent, the differences are more pronounced. You have Ash and Gray as the protagonists. Gray is actually a Reploid, and Ash is human, again, quote unquote human. So there's a bigger difference between them. They have completely different intro stages and different plots that happen, backstories and such. And there's more difference between their in-game abilities as well. Oh, that was an accident, but that actually worked out. Yeah, I will continue to use this. Nope, I won't, because I need the Super Ball to get through this block. No! Bugger. Yes, so Ash, again, is quote-unquote human. But, oh yeah, and the other thing is Vent and Ale from the first game show up during the story of Advent. And which one shows up depends on which character you picked. If you pick the male character, then the female character from the first game will show up and interact with you. It's actually interesting because their hairstyles have swapped, sort of. Like, Vent grew out his hair and has a long flowing mane now. And then you can actually copy their abilities, and it's only at that point that you get the sort of ZX play styles, model ZX, like, which is just like Zero from the original game. So I didn't really, like, I enjoyed the game a lot more once I got that, but it comes so late in Advent. So I was pretty disappointed by that initially. Bombs, more bombs. I don't even know how to use them. Damn. Okay. Anyway, so that's that. Oh, I guess I should mention a couple other things, because in Mega Man X8, I think X8 or X7, it's one of the ones with Axel, because I really can't remember which one it was. Anyway, there's this whole thing in that game where you have like operators who help you out and give you mission info and basically tell you exposition and unnecessary game tips over the radio the whole game. And each of the playable Reploids, X0 and Axel, have their own navigator. So X has Alia, who returns from previous games, and the other two are new. Zero has I think Zero has Leia and Axel has Palette, and they're all different kinds of tropey character designs. But yeah, you can unlock the ability to play as them, and they have the same abilities as the Reploid that they've been supporting through the game. So Ale plays just like X, and etc. So that's nice. So Gimmon says he thinks I'm talking about 8. Yeah, I couldn't remember which one, but because I haven't played those ones. Hang on, save right here. This is a tricky jump. Fight all these native Martians, kill them, sure. We're invading their home, probably. Alright, I think... What are we... Stage 24. Okay, no more save states from here after this one. Yeah, so it's like a late game thing. Once you unlock... You have to like do certain things to clear the game in a certain way, and then you unlock the ability to play as these navigator characters who are all women, of course, because usually the women stay home and call the men on the radio, basically. What's this? AE or RE? What could that stand for? Oh, that might be Andreas Escher, actually, the graphic artist for this game, putting his own initials in. Oh, nuts. Given saying that ZX and ZX Advent. Oh, I said I wasn't going to use save states. A habit. ZX and ZX Advent are more closely continuations of the Zero games than the X series is of the classic. Yeah, and that's saying something because you know, you've got carryover of Dr. Light and Wily originated stuff, and X is basically just Mega Man again. Oh, I can kill these things? Oh, no kidding. I've only just figured out that these enemies are actually killable. Cool. But yeah, there's a very strong through line from Zero to ZX by virtue of them being developed like right after by the same company. Which, you know, was also the case with the Classic and X, by the way, but anyway. Let's see. Yes. Given saying 7, 8, and Command Mission have Axel. Yes, this is true. Oh, gosh. Actually, speaking of the lady robots, there is one of your party members in Command Mission, which is the RPG for the X series. Yeah, I think one, maybe two. I think it's two, yeah. One is like a thief archetype character, and one is a nurse who, yeah, just has like a nurse's uniform. It's, yeah. Oh, man. Okay, that's bad. Didn't I say I was going to stop using save states? Okay, no more save states. Let's do this. Oh yeah, the checkpoints. I don't think I've used a single checkpoint this whole bloody game because I've been too scummy and cheating on my save states. But yeah, this platform is not carrying me with it. I need to walk. But yeah, those little pipes that I've been seeing the whole game, they're the checkpoints. Yeah. Good feature. Yes, okay. So I forget the names of the female characters in Command Mission, but oops. So Gibbon's saying he has the Legacy collections and he should check that out. Yes, well, from what I heard, 8 is better than 7, so, but 7 is not looked on very fondly at all. But he's saying he didn't play much of 6, 7, or 8. Well, that's okay, they're not canon anyway. Snark. Seriously though, like, Inafune didn't intend for the series to continue after 5, which is why he then moved on to 0 and made the way the 0 series progresses to continue pretty directly from one of the endings of 5. But which of the classic series is canon? Okay, definitely Wily and Wright's Rockboard, that's Paradise. Definitely Rockman and Forte, Mirai Kata Chosensha, or whatever that is. The Wonder Swan game that can never be re-released. What else is canon? Oh, definitely Mega Man on Game Gear, which is like a compilation of 4 and 5. Oh, and Rockman Tennis on the mobile phone, which actually has playable X in it, in one of the very, very few like direct crossovers between the X series and the classic series. Yeah, X is an unlockable character in a classic series Mega Man Tennis game for mobile phones. Oh yeah, the Legends Rockman Dash Great 5 Island Adventure. Yeah, that wasn't a port, it was a whole new game. I think it was released episodically, maybe. I think there's a fan project to redub that game, so translate all the text and then give it proper English voice acting. Well, not proper because it's being done by a bunch of amateurs, but they might do a good job, you never know. Yeah, I don't know how far along that is, but it's definitely in the works. Fan translation of that with redub. I don't think they're going to make it a playable game. It might just be a series of videos, but that's good enough. Like, I don't think you're missing out by not playing this thing on a mobile phone keypad that's a sort of shrunken down version of the 3D Rockman Dash game. Actually, I shouldn't be saying that. I'm supposed to be like into game preservation and history and stuff. So I'd love it if it was playable personally, but having a video that's been redubbed, I guess, is just the next best thing. I'm sure I would demand a playable version if I was really into the Legends games, but I never really experienced them at all. I've read up a bit about them, but yeah. Also, I hosted scans of a manhua, a Chinese manga. Game over. Okay, now I will go back to my save state. Oh, I actually made one halfway through the level after saying I wouldn't. Oh, I'm such a hypocrite, lol. Okay, yeah, but yeah, Five Island Adventure, great stuff. Yeah, why was I using the flamethrower? Like, super balls this guy, totally. That really works. Great. By the way, that was like a tripod. War of the Worlds, anyone? Martian? Aliens? Tripods? Alright, stage 25, final stage. This time, no save states. After that one. Oh, wow. Rockman Dash actually had another mobile phone game. It was a golf game, so another sports spin-off, but yeah, that exists. Look that up if you want. I actually played Rayman Golf. Did I do that on stream? I don't think I did it on stream. Nope, not saving, not loading. I have lives. Let's use them. Alright, moving on from Mega Man. One more follow-up item. I played Perfect Dark on Game Boy Color a few weeks ago. And since that time, I've read some Perfect Dark comics. So I'm halfway through Giana's Tears, which is a sequel to Perfect Dark Zero on the 360 in its plot. There was a preview, a prologue to that by the same artist and writer, which was included in the limited edition of the game. It hasn't been scanned properly, but there's an image gallery of it on Imager of someone taking like shoddy photos of their crumpled, rumpled version that they got with the collector's edition. That was sort of like uploaded recently, and the game is, oh gosh, what, 12 years old now? Anyway, that's called Hong Kong Sunrise, and it's a prologue to the game itself. Whereas Giana's Tears is a sequel to the game. Yeah, so I read that. I also read, I know Gibbon's not done with Mega Man chat. He's saying Inafune was actually directly involved in 1 through 10, and given the plot of 10, yeah, the plot of 10 is robots getting roboenza, which is a disease that is causing them to go nuts. And it turns out over the course of the game that Wily is behind it, which is, yeah, pretty much directly like, this is the Maverick virus precursor that Wily's developing. And yeah, it makes robots go nuts. Except for Roll, which it just hospitalizes. Why? I don't know. I guess because she's a weak girl. Pfft. Very irritating. But anyway, it is basically just the Maverick virus, as Gibbon says, yeah. Anyway, Perfect Dark. In addition to the 6-issue Giana's Tears miniseries published by Prima Games, there was also 2 earlier comics that were included in the Nintendo Player's Guide for the original game. So one of them is an adaptation of about half of the Game Boy Color game. So it's pretty much the events that I played through. Joanna does a training mission, and then she goes off to do her first actual mission in South America or whatever it is, at the Cyborg Factory, and has a showdown with, what was his name, Mink Hunter or something? That stupid character. Great, fantastic character. yeah, so that was pretty interesting, and the art's not bad. It's a little bit short because it's just within the pages of a strategy guide. But yeah, nice little curio. Oop. Okay, let's try and deal with that pole. But yeah, there are actually 2 comics in the guide. Oh boy, okay, good. Now we can go through. So yeah, one of them was partially adapting the Game Boy Color game, and one of them is actually a sequel to the 64 game. So in the comics medium, we have both the earliest Perfect Dark media, one taking place before Zero, and also one taking place after the 64 game, which is the latest. So earliest and latest. So that's pretty interesting, although they're both quite short. Yeah, and I did also manage to confirm after that stream, I wasn't sure if Elvis would show up in the events of the game, since, you know, I guess you're supposed to meet him during Perfect Dark. But I found out just by reading a guide that, yeah, he does show up at the end of that mission that I was just starting when I finished my stream. But, you know, the catch is that you just sort of see him in silhouette or something, or you don't formally get introduced, but he still, like, meets you and says, oh, here, you should do this next, and you go and do it. So yeah, there's aliens, there's grey aliens. They're not part of the story of Zero or any of those related properties. There's actually, in addition to the comic, there's 2 novels, which I think were written by the guy who wrote the comic story. But yeah, they tried to get that going for a while. I don't think the game was incredibly successful, but I think it was one of the only things available on the 360 at launch, so it must have done okay. But it's not incredibly well regarded. In this day and age. But it is available on Rare Replay. Out now at your local retailer. Okay, I'm going to save in a new slot, because that's how cheesy I am. Dang! I can't believe you die in one hit. I hate games like that. Oh well, it's fine. I like this game. I am actually having fun, but that's, you know, I would never have got this far without all my save state abuse. Like, oh, whoa, okay. Yeah, so that was my Perfect Dark follow-up. Graduation Day is the name of the comic that is a partial adaptation of the Game Boy Color game. Blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, there was this weird thing in the sequel comic where Datadyne was cloning Earth's celebrities and political figures, and since it's set in the future, one of the things was that Jerry Halliwell was the Prime Minister of Britain. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was a senator and presidential hopeful. Remember when that was a big joke? What else? Michael Jackson, who is said to be genetically enhanced pop star. Bloody hell. Alright, let's get a save state right at that point and really finish this. Which is unfortunate because I haven't at all talked about my list of other female robot games, which I carefully curated. Maybe I could do that next week. But I will have to pick one of them before next week. So I'll go through them real quick now, actually. The Guardian Legend I already played from the NES. Save, new slot again. Hang on, we'll get a good look at the boss first. It's a giant mouth, there's a little eye above it, and then some weird tentacle mass connecting it to a wall. Lovely. Okay, so Guardian Legend, already played that. Hard and Heavy is the next one, is the one I'm playing now. Enemy Zero, spoilers, it's a Saturn sort of survival horror adventure game. You don't find out until the end that the character you're playing as is a sort of perfectly humanoid robot thing. Oh, my time is still ticking down. Oh, there's a little mother brain pit there. What do I do? Okay, go through here. Oh! What? Stage 1? Excuse me? Where's my ending? Where's my fanfare? Where's my credits? Wow. What? I guess I'm done? Okay. Really arcadey. It's like, back to the start. Play it again. I have all my power-ups. And I guess there's the hidden levels that are mentioned in the manual or whatever, the box art. Find the 5 hidden levels. I wonder if it just means the little bonus areas, because I found a few of them, but I don't know if they really count as levels. Yeah, like, that's it. Okay. Well, I'll continue through my little quick list here while I play this, but that's it for the game. Yeah, so what else is... Wonder Project J2. Wonder Project J was a... oh, okay. Oh, that's it. It was a sort of life-raising simulation sim on the SNES, where you have a little robot boy that you sort of give orders to and he does stuff. Yeah, I've lost all my power-ups now because I got a game over. Why don't we go back to the title screen, actually? Yeah, I'll do that. Soft reset. We'll let that run, and I'll go through my list. So, yeah, Wonder Project J. It's kind of like a Tamagotchi, I guess, or sort of like Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures. You can influence the development of this, like, robot child, who it's kind of more like a clockwork kind of magical thing. But anyway, the sequel on the 64 has a girl robot that you raise, so you're not really playing as her, but she's sort of the main character interacting with directly. And then there's Mischief Makers, of course. That's probably what I'm going to play next week. Treasure platformer on the 64. Trigger Heart Excelica. I think that was, yeah, that's a shmup in arcades and stuff. You play as like anime girls who are robots. There's a freeware indie adventure game called Annie Android on the PC. Citus. Oh, that's the it's on smartphones and also Vita. It's a rhythm game about a robot, a gynoid android. I read a blog post about how one particular person doesn't like the use of the term gynoid because it shouldn't be necessary. Like, the andro prefix refers to humanity rather than specifically male characteristics. But anyway, it's a way to distinguish that you're talking about robots with feminine characteristics like I am. So I don't know, whatever. Assault Android Cactus was pretty interesting. It's a top-down twin-stick shooter, but it has a huge cast, and they're all female robots, so that's pretty cool. Nier Automata, of course. There's 3 playable characters, 2B, A2, and 9S. But 9S is a boy, but the other 2, and the main character is 2B. But yeah, there's 2 female robots. And the last one I had was SteamWorld Dig 2, which is pretty cool. It's like steampunk, like Metroidvania kind of thing. So in terms of the retro things, that's I've played 2 of them now. There's the survival horror game on the Saturn, which is probably not going to happen. Wonder Project J2, I don't recall if that has a fan translation or not, but that's going to be pretty hard to play anyway. So it's probably going to be Mischief Makers. So look forward to that. That's going to be next week. But yeah, I'm done with this one. It was a bit quicker than usual, but that was nice. I'm glad I actually finished it. Let's actually look at the characters here on the title screen. We've got the Scorpion on the left and the spiky, spiny kind of Buzzy Beetle. It's not Buzzy Beetle because they're always flat. I think they're spinies. Anyway. And the one on the right might be the virus type thing, or it could be the tripod that was shooting fireballs at me. In the meantime, in the background might be the final boss, and there's like a little skull alien head thing next to that. Anyway, Robot Month. It's actually kind of a blessing that I missed out on a stream last week because I don't think any of the other games would be good for a full stream. Anyway, that's cool. Thanks for joining me today. This was the sequel to Giana Sisters. That had to get changed to the last minute for legal reasons, most likely. Hard and heavy about our robot miners on Mars goofing off and bunking off and having fun adventures, apparently. And yeah, possibly a a couple. Yeah, so thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.